Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, based on the time you're watching this video. This is Yogesh Agiwal from Crossover Leadership Journeys. Hope you guys are doing well. And I think the lockdown in some of the areas are getting over. And I think we are getting back to normal. And as I was saying in the last video, that today we are going to deal with a very important emotion called anger. I think many of us do have a challenge with anger, and today we are going to deal with that in a very nice way. So, if you remember, we talked about limbic system, we talked about prefrontal cortex, and how when you make the connection between limbic and prefrontal cortex, how you can start doing right side processing. And those of who you are watching part three for the first time, I request you all to watch part one, part two, and then come to part three, because all these are very linked videos. And I think if you systematically follow this, when you have a notebook uh, and just practice all that I've spoken in the past, I think you should be able to manage your emotions really well. And I'm not telling this just theoretically. I have, as you know, that I have done more than 176 workshops so far. And every time I've done the workshop and people have applied and they have shared with me, my confidence about this whole the research, about this whole practice has gone up and up. So, but only things you have to really practice, which means you have to get your notebook, you have to write down every day how are you processing your emotion, what is the experience you're going through. So today we are going to look at one of the very important part of the brain called amygdala. Okay, so amygdala is the part of the brain that constantly scans for threat. Now, so assuming that the ceiling is going to fall, I mean just a hypothetical case, okay, and the amygdala, who is scanning for threat, will get immediately activated. Now, when it gets activated, it starts supplying the blood to your arms or to your feet. Now, to your arms so that you can hold the ceiling, yeah, and to your feet so that you can run from this room to save yourself. Now, that extra blood is taken from the brain because the brain at that time does not need to function rationally, which means that the brain will not say at that time, who is the architect and did we get the municipality permission for this building? All that is later. Right now, run. Okay. Now, when you're out of the danger, the blood goes back to your amygdala and you become rational, which means you can talk to others. You become as you are normal. Now, the amygdala is a primitive brain. Okay, so it can get activated in many other situations also. So, for example, you go to an airport and you are at the counter and the airline staff says that your flight to Bombay or wherever you're traveling is 4 hours late, and there is a very important meeting on the other side. Now suddenly the amygdala get activated because the meeting not happening is also a threat, which means that you might have a big business deal or you're closing something very important. So what would happen to that? So the amygdala get activated. Now the amygdala immediately supplies the blood to your arms or your legs, and you become irrational. So you start, you would have seen in the airport, so people start screaming, they start banging the counter, all that because their amygdala get activated. Now, as we are practicing, emotional intelligence, and we are going to talk about couple of things that you can practice to bring it down in the next videos. But right now, just start becoming self-aware of what would happen when there is a threatful situation, something like this, the ticket situation. Now, if you are to carefully observe your amygdala, then the blood will not come back to your arms, or it will, even if it comes back, it goes back to the brain. So you can tell the airline staff that, is there any other, other flight I can take? or can I go to Pune and take a cab from there, or can you put me to some other airline? Yeah, these are all rational conversation, but that can happen only when the amygdala is not getting activated. Yeah, so which means that you have to start building this connection and observing and ensuring that you don't become irrational and start banging the counter and things like that. Now, how is it related to anger? So what happens is that this amygdala can also get activated when there is a difference of opinion. Yeah. And when there is a difference of opinion, and if you don't agree with me, even that difference is a threat to the amygdala. So you would have seen, in sometimes at home or at work, if your spouse is not agreeing to what you're saying, or your colleague is not agreeing, and suddenly you blew up, and then after some time you realize, I should not have shouted that with that loud tone, or I should not have used sarcastic language. Yeah, all that comes to you later, after 2 hours or after 3 hours, depending on how much amygdala is activated at that time. So sometimes it could be even 3 days that you don't speak to somebody. Now the idea is that we have to start now becoming self-aware and then observing our amygdala, and then don't become irrational. Now this amygdala also get gradually trained. So over a period of time, you start becoming self-aware. So you would have seen that you generally don't blow up immediately. There are some signals that come to you, when you are getting into that zone. So either your heartbeats will increase, or you'll have some palpitation, or some flickering of eyes, or ears will become red, whatever may be the different ways the amygdala's response can be seen in the body. And once you start becoming self-aware, you can also observe the other people. So then you start knowing the other person, that if somebody is, there is, somebody who was very close to you, you can know that what are those physical symptoms or signals that you can observe. So before they really blow up, you kind of manage them. Yeah. So you have to be careful on that. So, one, I just want to tell one story, and then maybe this will drive this point of anger very beautifully. So I was running this program in Bangalore, and usually what I do in the class is that I ask people that who would like to deal with anger, and I just pick up one of the participants to talk to me about anger. So I asked this participant that when did you last get angry? So this program was on Monday, and he said yesterday evening, afternoon, around 4 o'clock. So I said, tell me more about that. And he said that we were coming from our hometown, and it was myself, my wife, my son, and my parents. Now it was 2:30 when we started, and it takes about 4 hours to reach our home. So my wife said that we have to rush because this son has not done his homework, and we have to reach because he sleeps around 8:30. So we should reach by 7:30 so that he can finish his homework and then go to sleep. So as they were coming in the in the car, uh, the father said on the way that I can see a very old temple on the road. Can we just do some darshan and then go forward? And then he looked at his wife, and obviously his wife was worried about the son because if the father goes to the temple, then they might delay the whole reaching home. But then the son said to the participant said to his father that, we'll stop to the temple, but you should very quickly, do the darshan and come back. So dad said, yeah, I'll do that, no problem. So they parked the car, and as the dad, came out of the car and he was going towards the temple, he generally asked his son that, would you like to also come for the darshan? And then he said, yeah, I'll come, you go ahead. And then he asked his wife that, would you also want to come? And then she said, no, I don't want to come. And his amygdala just got activated for some reason, that he thought that his wife never respects his parents' wish, and they just wanted to go to the temple, and she is no for saying no to that. And then he also went inside, and then they came back, and then obviously he was very angry. Before going inside the temple, he shouted at his wife, saying that anytime my parents want to do something, you never support, and all that. I mean, I don't know more detail about what he would have spoken, but I'm sure from his tone of what he was sharing with me, I think that was a very nasty conversation that happened. So then I asked him, how was the evening? He said, no, what evening? We never spoke. And how was the morning? I mean, obviously, they didn't speak to each other whole night. In the morning also, he just got up. There was no breakfast. He just came to the session. So obviously, the entire evening, entire night, entire morning was absolutely, not pleasant at all. So then I asked him that, I'm going to ask you some question. Are you willing to give me the correct answer, meaning the true answer? He said, yeah, please go and ask me. So I asked him that, did you ask your wife that why does she not want to come inside the temple? So he started telling me, no, you don't know my wife, all that, same, that, she never respects to my parents, and all that he started saying. I told him, only respond to what I'm asking. I asked you a question that, did you ask your wife why she does not want to come inside the temple? So then he became a little quiet because I was very serious about asking this question, and he said no. Then I asked, what about your son? Did he come with you in the temple? He said, no, his son is also like that, he's like his mother only. I said, boss, I am asking you the question. Tell me, did you ask your son why he doesn't want to go inside the temple? So he said, no. Then I told him that, I know why your son did not want to go inside the temple. And then, and I talked about my Saj Yoga and the meditation I do. So somewhere he thought that I have some power to know about, people, what they think and all that. I don't know what he thought. So I told him that, what your son is thinking is, if my God is in my father, why should I go inside the temple? And then he started smiling, his shoulders drooped, and he knew that I'm really making some lighter moment for him. He knew that I'm just saying that, and he started smiling. And I said, see, you did not ask your son that why he did not wanted to come inside the temple. So you don't know what he was thinking. And how does it feel now if I tell you that your son treats you as God? Suddenly started smiling. I said, this feels awesome. I mean, which father will not want the son to feel him like a god? And I told him that, do you know why your wife did not go inside the temple? And he said, no. I said, that temple where your parents had gone, any married woman who goes inside the temple, the ritual is that she has to do 108 whatever, parikrama or circle, which would take at least 25 to 30 minutes completely. So your wife thought that instead of me going inside, if the parent just go and comes back, and I mean, anyway, the dad had only gone, the mother-in-law was still in the car. So dad would go in 5-10 minutes, they'll come back and they can go home. The boy can finish the homework. So now what is happening is many a times, so you have to bring all that you learned in the last two videos. How if this person had done right side processing with his wife? He had not created an automatic story about her that, she doesn't support his parent, but that's not the reality. Because now imagine the experience she's going through. Actually, she is actually supporting the parent. She's supporting the dad. She wants to, get everything done. But see how this misunderstanding can lead to. Yeah. So next time, whenever your amygdala is getting activated, I think you have to use your right side processing. And don't let any automatic story continue. So the anger, the biggest source of anger is the difference of what you are thinking and what somebody else is thinking. And always remember, I think the biggest thing that every human being wants is to be understood. Yeah. So if you can just pause yourself and ask somebody, that whoever is not doing what they are not doing, what you want them to do, ask this question. In fact, you should, I'm going to recommend a couple of beautiful books that you should read, but I don't want to overload too much to you. I mean, for now, uh, look at the first video, look at the second video, and now you can see the seriousness of why I'm asking you to bring the notebook, because this skill is not easy skill to learn. But the beauty is, once you have learned it and you have mastered it, then I think you look for complicated situation in life, you look at complicated people in life, because you're not giving the control of yourself to somebody else. The moment you can give control to somebody else, it is like drinking poison and thinking the other person will die. Yeah, so you have to take control of yourself. It's your own amygdala, it's your own limbic system, it's your own prefrontal cortex. So if you can take care of these different parts of the brain, becoming self-aware, and I'm going to give you 10 suggestions, each of the 4 dimensions, which is the part of the next video. And I'm also going to invite Guy Winch, who is a very good speaker, he's a psychologist, and there is a very nice video. So what we'll do is we'll watch the video together. So I'm going to play it on the Zoom recorder with me, and then we'll play it together. Yeah. But till then, I think don't get angry, uh, because everything is a point of view. Yeah. So your point of view may not be the same of somebody else's point of view. So don't exert power. If you are a father, if you are a boss, because pushing power is not a sustainable model. Then you're like a manager, you're not like a leader. Leader is somebody who is self-aware, who tries to understand people, who tries to analyze, why somebody is getting angry, or why am I getting angry, and have conversation. Imagine if this participant had spoken to his wife, and he would have known at that time, instead of misunderstanding her, how evening it would be so pleasant. They both would have gone together. The homework would have happened. He would have had breakfast. Yeah, everything would have happened very beautifully. Yeah, just those moments. Yeah, and you have to start practicing this and see the benefit of this. Because you remember, that evening is gone. I mean, it's not going to come back to again. So every evening, every day, every moment, I think you have to enjoy. You have to be careful and not let those moments just drive you away. And over a period of time, you will see that as you start practicing all this, you'll get complete control of yourself. And then you will not blame anybody for anything. You will take responsibility of whatever you are. And if you are not, then you will strive to get there. Yeah. And we are going to be in this journey together. So do share in the comments. And I also load this video on Facebook on our Crossover Leadership Journeys channel. So do subscribe to the Crossover Leadership Journeys channel also, so that whenever I load the video there, you will get a notification, so that you won't miss out my video. But do comment, do engage. I am someone who has just started this whole thing about, teaching people the emotional intelligence, the skill. And as I said, I do workshop, but this is, I feel, is a great medium, because just this is my, I think, third or fourth video, and I have already seen so many views and so many comments every time. So do share with as many people as possible. Do sit with your family, watch this video together. Everybody should have their own notebooks. Yeah, because everybody's life is different. Even in the same family, I think everybody has a different experience. So let these people have their own book. Write them down. Do the practice of visiting that book and seeing how are you transitioning, and do write in your comments, how are you going, what is happening to your practice, and then together I think we all will become very powerful in this important skill called emotional intelligence. So I look forward to my part 4 of the video. That's a very important video coming up very soon. and I'm going to talk about 4 dimensions of how you can manage yourself very well and how you can build your skill of emotional intelligence. So, part one, part two, part three, all are very important before you go to part four. Yeah. And if you can get your family together, that would be ideal because, imagine if everybody knows about amygdala and then if you get angry, somebody else can kind of balance it out. Meaning they will let your amygdala calm down. They will not have both the amygdala getting activated. Yeah. In fact, at some point, you should become so vulnerable that if somebody says in your home that it was your amygdala is getting activated, it will suddenly become more joyous. It will just diffuse the system instead of taking it too far in the game. Yeah. So good. Continue to practice, and then I look forward to seeing you again in my next video. Thank you.